Mtukufu Rais William Samoei Ruto has given out his State of the Nation address. I've listened to the whole speech. I've watched William Samoei Ruto. I have watched his body language. I've listened to his tone. But it is nothing short of what we call hot air. It is nothing short of below average. I don't know how you would actually rate William Samoei Ruto's speech, for those of you who have watched him in the National Assembly. Out of 10, where 10 is the highest, what would you give him? Because I would give him at most between 2 and 3 out of 10. Ladies and gentlemen, I've also watched the members of Parliament, our MPs, both from the Senate and the National Assembly. But these are guys who leave a lot to be desired. These are people who have actually betrayed this nation. These are people who are in bed with the executive. These are people who have let down the nation. These are people who have abandoned the electorate. These are people who have forgotten their responsibilities. Ni watu ambao hawajui kile ambacho wanafanya. For sure, when you look at William Samoei Ruto, you know William Samoei Ruto knows how to play with the minds of Kenyans and even the minds of politicians. The fact that William Samoei Ruto could call people directly, watu wa kawaida, kwa mfano kule kumpigia simu yule mtu wa Tuktuk, kule kumpigia simu the health officers, those guys who are moving from one home to the other, measuring temperatures, body, things like heart rate, heartbeat, body, whatever, pressure, and maybe sugars. The fact that he could call somebody in Garissa and he has his number is something that shocked many members of parliament. It's something that could make them clap. Some of them almost standing innovation, giving a standing ovation. Really jambo la kawaida, kuwachezea tu akili, kuonyesha kwamba he is in touch with Mama Boga. He is in touch with mtu wa kawaida. Although some of the things that was talking about are not adding up. Like that man who has borrowed so much money within a very short time. And people are doing some calculations. Na unaona kwamba vile ambavyo amekuwa akikopa, it's something like 5,200 2 times a day for about 363 days. And it is something that doesn't make much sense. Because the fact that William Samoei Ruto is able to play with their minds is something that is not good, if you ask me. The National Assembly and the Senate have failed this nation. And that is why William Samoei Ruto can be able to do whatever he wants. Because when you look at it, when you look at the judiciary, when you look at the National Assembly and the Senate, they look like they are branches of the executive. They look like they are department in the executive. Ndio sababu ukiona pale wako pale wote akina the president of the Supreme Court bowing to the president. You look at the Senate, the speakers of both houses, the members of parliament, those who are supposed to be very independent, because in a democracy we have what we call the separation of powers, whereby parliament work is to oversight the executive. Parliament is not doing its work, and that is why William Samoei Ruto anaweza kupaga na akapandisha bei ya mafuta bila kujali. And that is why William Samoei Ruto anaweza kuamka na kuambia wananchi from now henceforth the cost of actually registering a new identity card is Kenya shilling 1,000, and the parliament is just there watching. When you lose an ID, you pay Kenya shilling 2,000 for renew. Na wabunge wetu wako pale hawajui kile ambacho wanafanya, wamepoteza mwelekeo, and they have forgotten their responsibility. So how are they oversighting the executive when we know that even the treasury is stealing a lot of money? Budgeting corruption is what told by one and none other than Margaret Nyakango, the control of budget. Yeye mwenyewe anaona na waambia kwamba hapa mnatukosea. It is the work of the legislature to actually oversight the executive. They have failed kwa sababu wananchi wanalia, and that is why they will be voted out. If elections were held today, ladies and gentlemen, who among the parliamentarians would come back because I'm sure that only two leaders who seem to be working is Okia Omtata and Gathoni Wamushoba. Those two leaders seems to be working. The two leaders seem to be focused. The two leaders seems to be protecting common mwananchi. Look at the way they supported the finance bill, and now they are crying. Look at the way they were singing Hosanna to William Samoei Ruto wakati aliwaletea finance bill, and then the same Kenya Kwanza guys wanaenda kule State House kulalamika kumwambia sasa wananchi wanalia, and they are the same people who passed these laws. Oh, look at it. They have failed the nation. Again, look at the way they approve the budget. Ni kama vipofu. Chochote ambacho wanaletewa, hata wengine hawasomi, hawajali ni kipi ambacho kinaletewa, because they are part of the executive. They are part of the big chain that is stealing from the public, and they are beneficiaries of corruption. That is why they would clap for William Samoei Ruto, because with that speech that he gave, the State of the Nation address, hakuna kitu, is the speech is hollow. There's nothing concrete. Na sasa wanaambiwa vile ambavyo serikali imefanya mambo mengi, mama boga, sijui nini, mtu wa mkokoteni amenufaika, ili hali tunajua mwananchi wa kawaida analia, tunajua mama boga analia, tunajua mtu wa mkokoteni hana jasho, hana nguvu za kusukuma rukwama, mkokoteni rukwama, hana namna. And then you find our members of parliament. No wonder they are, you find some people calling them MPs, because they eat anything edible. They don't leave anything foul. That's very, very interesting, because you see, that is why, that is not among the many reasons that made us send them to parliament. Again, they are supposed to make laws and amend laws, but when you look at it, the kind of laws that they make, they are not inspiring. They don't even amend the laws. Tell me, any one time that you have seen them amending punitive laws, kile ambacho wanafanya, they only do anything that is brought by the executive. Once the executive brings something in parliament, that is only the time they debate the law, they fight it whether it's good or not. Lakini sasa, you don't fight the initiative. You don't fight the private members' motion. Like now, the CDF that was brought by, is it Karua? Some of them, the MP for Kalau. It was the brainchild behind CDF. And that man will go down in history as somebody who had the interest of Kenyans at heart. Because ukitazama vizuri sana utaona kwamba why it not for Karue, why it not for this man or Kalau member of parliament that time during Kibaki's time, I think CDF could be just be a pipe dream. But when you look at the CDF, the today called National Development Constituency Development Fund, when you look at the transformation that has been brought by this kind of funding, it is something that is admirable. Lakini sasa unapotazama wabunge wetu, hawana chochote ambacho wanaweza kuleta. They have nothing to bring to the people. Again, these are the people who are supposed to impeach the president, for sure. When you look at William Samoei Ruto, the way he has been telling Kenyans, where he had brought the nation, the high cost of living, high cost of electricity, high cost of fuel, the corruption, name it, kwa sababu there are so many scandals that have been associated with William Samoei Ruto's government. Ukitazama vizuri, hata kule kubomolewa nyumba, bomoa ambazo watu waliachwa bila makao. I think William Samoei Ruto should be a candidate for impeachment. I think if it were a developed country, William Samoei Ruto could have been forced to resign. Kwa sababu ukitazama vizuri sana utaona kwamba kama ni kule shuleni utapata kwamba watoto wazazi wanalalamika kwa sababu wanaambiwa elimu haina malipo, but you see parents are paying a lot of money. You go to the universities and colleges, you find the same thing kwamba they talk about new funding model, lakini ukienda pale utaona zile pesa za help, wananchi wetu wanalia, watoto wetu wanalamika. So that is why I'm saying that they can even initiate a motion of impeaching the president and his deputy, and they can even force the Speaker of the National Assembly to come to be the president of the Republic of Kenya, because he's that in command. The fact that William Samoei Ruto has been breaching the constitution, like now having members who are not supposed to be in the cabinet, like now we have the prime cabinet secretary who is a stranger in the cabinet, the party secretary general Cleophas Malala, and the political advisor Monica Juma in the cabinet. This is breaching the constitution, because when you read the constitution, it stipulates very clearly that the members of the cabinet will consist of the president, the deputy president, and the cabinet secretaries. They are named, even the number is very much indicated. So where do we find the cabinet, chief cabinet secretary? So we don't want to break the law. Parliament is there just watching, but it's just clapping. So this is one of the institutions that is in bed with the executive. It is one of the institutions that, in our republic that has failed our great republic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's push these guys until they start working. Because you see, ukitazama vizuri sana, nasikia wengine wakisema ati Raila ako wapi aitishe maandamano. Kwani kazi ya Raila ni kuitishia watu maandamano? Why don't we have watu wa UDA sasa Kenya Kwanza ambao wanalalamika kwa sababu wanataka Raila aitishe maandamano, wakiitisha maandamano so that they can get the agenda of now endearing themselves to the people. Because without Raila Amolo Odinga, some of them have no agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, Parliament is dead. That is my take. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think, because Parliament, as far as I'm concerned, is a lifeless body. Bye-bye.